Let me first introduce our speakers, and let me also let me try to be shorter than it was expected. So I'll try to be shorter than 30 minutes in the whole session. Together with me, I'm happy to introduce Lauretta Rubini. Lauretta is a professor of applied economics at the University of Ferrara and also board member of the Italian Society of Economics and Industrial Policy. And here we also have Alessio Guandalini, a researcher at the Italian Institute of Statistics and General Secretary of the Italian Association of Economics, Demography and Statistics. As you can see, we are compliant with two pillars of the manifesto. One is the role of associations, and they are both here for their duties in their associations, and also the interdisciplinarity. We have economists and also statisticians. So let's go directly to the questions. I have two questions for them. The first is about the intergenerational equity, but we know that in the economic debate, but also in the policy debate, broadly speaking, young people are often studied as a recipients of the policies, as a targets, but they are never or almost never considered as the main actor, or they are almost hardly never the main characters of the main actors of these policies. So when we talk about pensions, when we talk about public debt, when we talk about climate change, the young generations are usually the recipients, the customers sometimes. So is this a big issue in the academic and the research life? How the academic environment, the research environment is making room and space for the perspective, the real perspective, and to hear voices of and priorities of young generations of economists and scholars.
Thank you. No, not working. I think it's not working, so I'm using yours. So first of all, let me thank for this opportunity to be here as a member of the board of SIEPI, and thank you very much for this question, which I think poses an issue that is, I would say, more than a priority now, some sort of an emergency. That is the way in which our young scholars, researchers can express their position, can defend their position or gain a position within the university. I think that we have to make a distinction of two levels, because I don't think that the single university, each university isn't aware of this emergency. We all are worried about our young scholars, about the future that we can give to them. And I would say that every university is putting the efforts that they can put in this. The problem is that I see a growing struggle about how, at a higher level, I don't see a strategy for protecting them. And this causes damages at different levels, especially in terms of intergenerational equity and also of the role the university has in society, I would say. We see several young researchers, talented people that are not able to or have to wait years and years to have the door open in the university, if it opens. Sometimes it seems to be open, like in the wave of money of the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, but then the doors closed and they remain closed out. So we create also expectations that is not possible to meet, and we force them to go outside the university. So sometimes they are enrolled in telematic universities, which at the moment are those that are giving an opportunity to many of our young scholars. And this has a consequence on public university. Sometimes they go in enterprises or abroad, which is not bad for them. I mean, they are talented and they can find a road, but it's bad when we give expectations and we change the way in which we think a young scholar is. So now we are not surprised to see a 40-year-old researcher labeled as a young scholar. I wouldn't say it's a young scholar. If you ask to an entrepreneur if a 40-year-old employee is a young or an expert employee, I would say it's not a young employee anymore. But it has also several negative consequences on the role that the university has. I think that we have, apart from the traditional distinction between the first, the second, and the third mission that we all know, I think we have a pillar mission as a university that is to be an agent of change. The university to be an agent of change. And we can be agents of change if we embrace the new generations and if we listen to them and if we allow new methodologies, new perspectives to mix with the existing ones, to break some sort of regressive coalitions. Sometimes within the universities, we do have regressive coalitions against new methodologies, new approaches. We need to call ourselves, we need to have a manifesto for a new economics. It means that we need to have incentives to change, and young researchers are this incentive, can represent this engine for change. And I also see another threat, that is that young people can stay in the university much easier if they have a rich family behind them that can help them to stay there and resist and wait until a day in which maybe the doors will open again. And what is most worrying for me is that I don't see a plan for changing this at macro level. I don't see a strategy for protecting this field, and therefore the risk is that the university will become older and older. So we need to rethink about the role that an old university can have in a society that we want to change, that we want to make more intergenerational equal, that we want to make more sustainable, that we want to make more modern, that we want to act as a ladder for equality, not as a ladder for this kind of trends. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lauretta. This also reminds me about the definition of young people, and the definition is moving upper and upper. So it was like until 24 years, then it was like 29, in some countries, why not 34? For the in Italian Ministry of Research is 40. So Alessio, same question for you. What are the environmental, the research environment doing for this?
Thank you. I want to thank you for the invitation and for all the organization. And okay, I'm pleased to participate as a General Secretary of the Italian Society of Economy, Demography and Statistics. And okay, I'm not an academic. I lived in the academic for a couple of years, but the attraction that make on me the official statistics, it has been stronger, maybe for several of the reasons that Lauretta said. And so I moved to National Institute of Statistics. I want to say a step back, and I strongly believe that it's important to consider the voice of the younger generation in shaping the research agenda, because we cannot trying to find to plan something that is sustainable, sustainable policy for young generation if we do not understand what is sustainable for the younger for a younger generation. And this the definition of sustainability is changing during the time. We can appreciate even changes looking at generations separated just by few years. And there are several studies, for instance, by the National Institute of Statistics related, for instance, the report on BESS. BESS stands for Equitable and Sustainable Well-being, and also another study by the Institute of Analysis of Public Policy that shows that younger generation is increasing the importance of subjective well-being, leisure time, and working-life balance. So it's different with respect to the generation of 15 years ago and even back. So we have to think at what new generation are thinking and also are feelings for planning policies and word that will be suitable for them. Related to the research environment, even in this case, I have to enlarge the scenario, so not only related to the academia. I feel that there are few aspects that deserve attention. The first issue is the precarity. Research requires intellectual freedom and long-term thinking. If it's difficult to think in a creative way, critically, with ambition, when I'm involved in short-term insecurity. So if I have to pay the rent, if I have to manage unstable contracts, or simply planning my next step of life, it's difficult to think about research. So reducing the excessive precarity is not only an issue related to the labor, but also an issue that's it's an investment in the quality of the research. The second aspect that I believe it's important is the excessive bureaucratization that we have. We have bureaucratization in every aspect of our life, but also in the research. Sometimes I feel that I'm more involved in describe what I want to do or what I have done in the research that in doing research. So of course transparency and evaluation are necessary, of course, but we have to reflect if we are still have this kind of system we created is leaving enough space for doing the research, so for the intellectual exploration, experimentation, and scientific activities. The third point is in such a way related to this aspect. Some years ago, I was in a scientific conference like this one, and there was a rector that say something that I want to say to you. He said that when research met in a conference in the department, they used a couple of years ago, they used to ask one another, what you are working on? So what is the topic of your research? Now, today, if two research met, the question is, how many papers did you publish on a top journal? And this is an observation that has captured an important transformation in the research culture. So in a system in which the recruitment and the career evaluation, we have to publish or perish, the research risk to increase just by small steps, because it's safer to publish small research, small advances on a well-known method or something that is already known, that involve in a huge research in something that is not still has not been already studied. So this is it's something that is not is a very high level problem. Together we have to try to solve, maybe trying to do a small step one by ourselves.
Thank you very much, Alessio. So to conclude, I think they both shared common experiences of problems. So to conclude with an optimistic message, I would like to ask you in 1 minute a concrete thing that your association can do better to build a genuine dialogue between and among generations.
Yes, well, SIEPI is, I would have to say, has always been very sensitive to the issue. So I'm not listing what we already do. For sure, there is room for all of us to do more. And I think that what can be the space more effective in order to help this situation is to be a sort of amplifier for the voices of young researchers. So we might multiply the occasions in which not only we listen to their research, there are plenty of occasions for which, but in which we discuss with them what's going on. So we inform them, we collect information from the policymakers, and then we transfer to them, because there is a lot of confusion about what's going on now, for example, or rules are changing and we don't know how they are changing. And so on one side, to be a sort of intermediary in order to collect information and transfer to them, but also to collect their instances and their requirements and pass them in a sort of a lobby activity to the government. And for example, I would like a lot in the next occasion to see some young people sitting here and having the voice of saying what they need. Thank you.
We do have young people.
Yes.
But they're coming later for the award.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's working. Yes, I think something it has been already done. For instance, some society, scientific society, has a very active young section. They also have awards and prizes for young people. Like we have just after this session, but what is important is to put young people not like a separate part, but inside. So put them inside where the decisions are made, and so giving them responsibility and possibility to show their capacities since from the beginning of the professional paths, and not after several years.
Thank you very much to both speakers. I think we can close them, and we can move to the most interesting part of this session. Excuse me for this. Which is the Young Award. So we have one winner for the Young Award, which is Alexa Uljarevich. Alexa's work investigates the role of female representation in school boards on ethnic segregation. By analyzing Californian data from 1990 to 2020, the study makes use of a regression discontinuity methodology and finds that higher shares of females in school boards lead to a statistically significant reduction in segregation. Approximately 30% of these Thales Age Index, a measure of segregation. The study excellently combines a novel and interesting research question with a strong causal methodology and an original multiple source dataset. More specifically, the study very well aligns with the manifesto principles, putting together how more gender equity may serve as a premise for creating more equitable spaces for relationships among children. This is the motivation that the committee, composed by Professor Giulio Guarini, Marusca De Castris, Alessio Emanuele Biondo, and myself found for this award. Alexa, you have 1 minute. You know the elevator speech test. You have to present your research in 1 minute during an elevator a lift travel journey. So 1 minute to show your results.
Hello. Thank you very much. I'm really flattered to receive this award. As it has been said, this is a paper that examines the role of female leadership on a critical outcome for the well-being of ethnic minorities. And so in some way, what I'm trying to see is whether gender can operate as a cross-cutting identity. If there are gender preferences, which I document exist towards racial integration, then the empirical question is to see whether these can also translate into different policy outcomes. And this is in this very specific context of education, but where social norms that we were talking before allow women to have more power, then we do observe that a critical outcome that is typically characterized by multiple competing interests across identity groups can converge towards something that integrates. And this is basically the paper. I will present it today at 5, and I'm really looking forward to do that. And again, thank you very much for this prize, and thank you very much for having me here at this World Conference. Thanks.
Thank you, Alexa. It's very well deserved. We also have 2 special mentions. We received a lot of papers and a lot of outstanding papers, and our choices were tough. So we decided to give 2 special mentions. One to Adam Francescutto. The motivation is the following. Adam's work develops and applies a novel framework to analyze the relationship between multidimensional eco-efficiency, eco-innovation, and regional development across Europe over the period 2010-2019. His findings challenge linear assumptions that innovation and growth will automatically deliver sustainability, and they point to the importance of context, institutions, and discretionality in shaping development outcomes. The committee particularly appreciated how the work deals with the complexity of taking together multidimensional efficiency from production to social and environmental outputs and eco-innovation through the combination of robust methodologies, including composite indicators and econometric models. Adam, 1 minute for you.
Yeah, thank you again to the committee for this, and also as a voice of the next generation of the youth, for young scholars, but also for young professionals in other sectors. There's a lot of, with all the challenges and a lot of the issues around the world, there is a bleak look at the future. So I think there's a call to create the opportunities for young people like myself in academia and in other sectors to be able to have a say and to be able to offer those insights and their suggestions on how we can, how we could be hopeful for the future and how we could be hopeful for what's to come. In terms of my contribution with this paper, it was looking at how we can look at the efficiency of an area, of a region, of what the economy is trying to do, what the economy is trying to produce, and taking that multidimensional aspect, looking at how to, in some terms, put into metrics what we're trying to achieve, what we're trying to desire, what we're trying to move towards, by including those social and environmental considerations of how standard economic inputs, such as innovation, such as standard resources, and looking at the difference between when you take that multidimensional approach versus a standard generic innovation or generic just investment. So shedding some light on those differences and how that is heterogeneous around Europe at the regional level. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Many apologies. I know institutions are important and I didn't present the winners with their own institution. So Alexa comes from the University of Luxembourg and Adam comes from the University of Florence. The special mention that we gave to Adam is also shared with another colleague, Valerio Tati from Sapienza University. Valerio? Valerio's analysis quantifies the gross output and the number of jobs activated by the Recovery and Resilience Facility funds, and evaluates what the impact of the Recovery Facility funds would have been under the assumption that the European Commission had introduced stricter conditionality on the use of intermediate goods sourced from extra EU countries by means of an input-output approach. This work is very well positioned in the current economic debate, and especially in the industrial policy debate, and is extremely relevant for providing the kind of evidence that should directly inform policymakers and future, but also present policies. Valerio, 1 minute for you as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In this work, we evaluate the structural impact of Recovery Resilience Facilities, or RRF, on employment output on the European member states. We do 2 different exercises. We use the input-output analysis, a counterfactual scenarios. In the first one, I do a simple exercise or input-output table, evaluating the impact of RRF or employment and gross output. And in the other one, we replicate the same exercise, but introducing a strong conditionality, introducing the limitation on the use of foreign on non-EU on the production process. I observed in this work that the effect between European countries are very heterogeneous, and these results can be explained considering the different production structure of the European countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Valerio. So let me thanks again our speakers, and let me introduce the next panel on market externalities, structural instability, and war. Quite relevant.